So now, the war also had a severe impact on industries. Russia's own industries were very few in number, and the country was cut off other supplies of industrial goods by the German, because Germany controlled the Baltic Sea, which is the sea route. Industrial equipment disintegrated more rapidly in Russia than elsewhere in Europe. By 1916, railway lines began to break down, and the able-bodied men were called up for the war. So now what happened? As a result, there were shortage of labor. If all the young, tough guys, if all the able-bodied men, if they were called for war and they were fighting war in the front, then what happened? Within the country, there will be shortage of laborers. And small workshops producing essentials were shut down. So if there is no worker, then the factories were natural to be shut down. And the large supplies of grains that they produce in Russia, it was sent to feed the army. So people will have very little grains left for their own consumption. For the people in the cities, bread and flour became scarce. So if the grains are less, then naturally bread will be less, flour will be less. But then, by the winter of 1916, riots and bread shop were common. So riots will be there. People will be wanting to buy bread and they are not getting it. And therefore, people started rioting. Now, the February Revolution in Petrograd. In the winter of 1917, conditions in the capital, Petrograd, were grim. The layout of the city seems to emphasize the divisions amongst the people. Why? The workers' quarters and the factories were located on the right bank of the river Neva. On the right side were the workers' quarters and factories. And on the left bank of the river Neva, what happened? It was a fashionable areas. There was the Winter Palace and the official buildings, including the place where the Duma met. So that division comes in between the fashionable and the higher and the richer people and the poorer people. Therefore, in February 1917, food shortages were deeply felt in the workers' quarter. In the workers' quarters, there were shortage of food. And the winter was very, very cold. There had been exceptional frost and heavy snow. When there will be frost and snow, the crops will not grow. The crops will die, like in drought, isn't it? So, problems started in the workers' quarters, that is, at the bank of the river Neva, on the right side. So now, parliamentarians wishing to preserve elected government, they were opposed to the Tsar's desire to dissolve the Duma. At that time, the Tsar also wanted to dissolve, to shut down, to finish off the Duma. But parliamentarians, they were opposed to that because they don't want the Duma to be shut down. So now, for